Hi everyone, welcome to today's story, and this is the story we're going to do some of our work from this week. Okay, and it's called Vlad and the Great Fire of London. And this week we're going to be doing some more work about the Great Fire of London. So here it is. Can you see the picture there? People using their hooks to try and pull the houses down. Okay, let's find out who Vlad is. I wonder. It starts off like this. Oi, down here. Down a bit more. Keep going. There he is. And there's Vlad. Hello and welcome. I'm Vlad the Flea. And this is my best friend, Boxton the Rat. So there's Vlad. And there's Boxton. And Vlad lives on top of Boxton. And they both live in London in 1666. In fact, Boxton is more than a friend. You could call him my friendly home from home. This is where I live, on the fur, between Boxton's ears. And there he is. Boxton is great. He knows where the tallest rubbish is, where I can get a little snack of blood off a human. And if you look, here's Vlad actually chewing a man's leg. And he's getting a little bit of blood because fleas like blood. We have to keep moving because for some reason people don't like Boxton, and the ones I bite always seem to get the plague and die. So this is a man with the plague, and there's the rat, Boxton. Now the plague happened in 1665, so 1 year before the Great Fire of London. That was the plague. Okay. Everything was wonderful until 3 days ago. We found a nice warm bed on the floor of the baker's shop in Pudding Lane. We know what's going to happen there. Boxton had feasted on breadcrumbs and I'd bitten the baker's maid. So here he is, having a little nibble on her leg. We were full up, so we lay down to sleep. The night was warm and cosy. It was almost hot for September. A light flickered gently in the corner and smoke curled around the ceiling. But look what's happened. Remember in the baker's shop? Smoke. I leapt up and started hopping around on Boxton's head. He was dozy and did not want to move, but I bit him hard. That woke him up. The flames were burning brightly in the huge wood pile that the baker used for his oven. The fire was blazing up the wall and was now moving across the floor towards us. We had to move quickly. I held on tightly to Boxton's hair as he squeezed through a gap in the door. We were free, but the fire had spread to the other houses. All around us, people were running and screaming. Some were carrying crying children or pulling carts piled high with furniture. If we stayed here, we would get burnt. But if we moved, we might be squashed by hooves or feet or wheels. We ran. Well, Boxton ran. And I just shouted encouragement. And there they are, hoping they're not going to get trampled by the feet. We scampered along the cobbles, slipping through the mud and leaping over puddles of smelly water and around piles of horse poo. There they are, trying to get away. I clung onto his sweaty back, terrified that I'd slip off. Finally, we came to the edge of the River Thames. Boxen stopped, panting loudly. Suddenly, there was a massive explosion. We looked back, and we could see soldiers blowing up people's houses. We know that bit of information from last week, don't we? Buildings were collapsing, and now there was a gap between the burning houses and the ones that could be saved. But still the fire burned the wooden walls and the thatched roofs. The wind blew, fanning the inferno, and the flames went from red to white. Smoke filled the air, making the sky dark, and the falling ash scorched our tongues and made us choke. And here are the people again, pulling down with their fire hooks, trying to stop the fire from spreading. And this house here looks like it's completely been gone. Sparks were flying around, and some landed on Buxton's tail and singed his fur. He squeaked and jumped and ran once more past London Bridge. The bridge was full of people and soldiers, so we turned and headed towards the Tower of London. Buxton's nose was quivering. I could only smell burning wood, but I knew that my friend had sniffed something else. On he staggered until we came to a garden. And if you look, you can sniff something, you see? He's having a little sniff of something there. In the middle of a patch of soil knelt a scared, chubby man in a long coat and wig. He was digging a hole and talking to himself. "It will be safe there, Samuel," he was muttering. He put his precious possessions into the hole, some bottles and a small, stinky parcel. Looking around, he checked no one was watching before he covered it up and hurried away. Buxton crept closer where the bundle had been in the ground. There, where it had leaked, lay crumbs of cheese. I think he looks very happy. Buxton bent down and gobbled each piece before sighing and lying down to rest. Slowly we turned to follow the crowds trudging along the road. Ahead of us were fields. People put down their belongings and started to make shelters out of blankets. And look in the background, you can see London's burning. And here are the tents, because the people now have got nowhere to go. It looked like we would be camping here for some time, as in the distance the fire continued to rage. "Come on, Buxton, let's find a nice snug tent. I need a bite to eat." The end. And just on the last page it says, it's quite funny, "This is how big Vlad really is." And there he is, just there. That's quite funny. So this is the story of Vlad and the Great Fire of London, told from the point of view of the flea. Now remember, Vlad is the flea and Buxton is his friend. Okay, look out for work now to go with this story. Okay, bye everyone.